You are Locked On Astros Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Houston on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
The Houston Astros entered this series against the Cincinnati Reds as maybe the hottest team in all of baseball. 5 consecutive wins, a 4-game sweep against a wild card team in the American League and the Kansas City Royals. And they hit the road to Cincinnati, getting their first day off in the middle of the series in 18 days. And they went in there and played a team that's playing for absolutely nothing at this point of the season and got swept out over the 3 games in the series. And somehow this franchise has now lost 9 consecutive games to a franchise that doesn't even sniff the postseason anymore. Baseball is a dumb sport, and right now it is as dumb as it gets. Hello and welcome to the Locked On Astros Postcast today. I am your host, Michael Connor. Appreciate you guys stopping by on your Thursday afternoon, whether you're at work, at home, doing whatever it is that you're doing, watching this show. I wish we had good things to talk about today. I mean, we will have one good thing to talk about. Hunter Brown continues to be magnificent. There's that. But the Astros today, and you know what? I can't even come on here and rip on Brian Abreu, which some people think that that's all I love to do. But that's okay. I mean, I'm going to rip on him being terrible in that inning, and basically everything that he threw got crushed, even when they were outs. The Astros scored 0 runs today. Big, fat 0. We'll talk about the bats. We're going to talk about what I'm asking here, which is a Reds curse. Is it real or not? And then at the very end of this show, we're going to preview the next series against the Diamondbacks. And I also do want to spend a few minutes talking about the ramifications for a future Astros problem, which is this offseason with Alex Bregman and the free agent market, given that there was an extension yesterday to a third baseman that was set to hit the market once again in Matt Chapman from the San Francisco Giants. Today's episode of the Locked On Astros Postcast is brought to you, by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code, all lowercase, LockedOnMLB to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Somebody want to give me $5 for having to watch those games this past few days? I mean, just absolutely atrocious baseball. Yesterday, we talked about it. You know, as I said, you're going to have a game or two of those every year where, you know, you go out there and your pitcher just gets kicked around and you get crushed. It happens. And you're going to have a series where this happens too. I will completely acknowledge that. Doesn't mean I can't be mad at it. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't be mad at it. What I won't endorse is that it's Joe Espada's fault for some reason. He's an awful manager. The Astros are the worst team ever. Jordan can't do anything. Altuve's washed. Bregman's elbow is going to fall. Like, I'm not going to do all that. I'm not going to overreact. That's where I'll let you guys do that. I will do the keeping a level-headed approach as much as I possibly can. And it goes – I always find that when you break something down like this when it happens, it's better to just be simply – to be – how am I looking to put this? To be as realistic as you can be. And I think that if you've watched me or listened to me for some time, you know I like to live, and I always say it, I like to live in a world of reality. Here was the reality of this week. They went up there and they got their butts kicked for 3 days in a row. They didn't get their butts kicked in every game, but they overall got their butts kicked because they lost 3 straight baseball games to a bad team. Facts are facts. They have not been swept in a series before this. I just saw a tweet about it a moment ago. I forget the guy's name that writes for the Chronicle because I haven't met him. Matt Kawahara. Sorry, Matt. I don't know how to say your name. It's the first time the Astros have been swept since their late April visit to Wrigley Field. Astros are now 75-65. They're going to watch, or you're going to watch. They're not going to watch. They're going to watch. We're going to watch the A's and Mariners game this afternoon, which is playing right now. The Mariners might score here in just a second to take a 1-0 lead in that baseball game. I will pull up my MLB TV and give you guys updates as we go along here on this show to see what happens in that baseball game. Hopefully nothing. But the Astros could drop another game in the American League West where they have made up some ground. They've added some cushion, and they have also given up a little bit as of last night. They're right now at this moment, and sorry, my volume is on for some reason for that. They are currently, 5 games up in the American League West right now as we sit. So, it wouldn't be a great feeling to be 4.5 up today. I've kind of written the Mariners off for dead, and I don't think that I'm wrong by doing that by any means, because you just watch them play and how awful they've been, and there's reason to think that will continue, and the Astros are probably going to walk their way into the American League West. They also have to go out there and do their thing. And I will say one of these things that hurts of just getting swept out in this series, and I talked about the schedule quite a bit as we all, the Mariners just took a foul ball maybe. I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this the entire time. Nope, 2-run home run, Cal Raleigh. So 2-0 Seattle in the first inning there in Oakland with 1 out in the inning. Astros are going to lose ground today in the American League West, I bet, on their lead. They're going to lose some space on their lead. You're not going to keep it the same every day. I get that. But, they went through that stretch of 18 games in a row where they started off poorly, and then they finished it pretty darn strong. And they got through that, and you kind of looked at this schedule for the month of September, and you said, hey, you know what? That series against Cincinnati is going to be important because that's a series that, and I even said this, I know I said these words, I just don't know what show I said this on recently. That's a series you should feast on, and you should take at least 2 out of 3. Well, you get swept. Coming home for a tough one this weekend. We'll talk about that in a bit. That being the Diamondbacks this weekend. After that, they're going to get Oakland for 3, at the Angels for 3. At the Padres, it'll be tough. Home for the Angels for 4. Then they play that Seattle team for 3. And at Cleveland to finish up the season. Overall, the month of September is a very favorable schedule, but they just screwed up part of the favorable portion of the schedule. That's the problem here. And you can't afford to do that again. And now they're going to have to bank on, like they did against Kansas City Royals, they're going to have to go out there and play a good team this weekend in the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they're going to have to win a series, which they should have done in the first place. Like, a team of this caliber is always going into series like that and saying, you know what? We should win these games if you're putting yourself in the shoes of an Astros player. That's what they're telling each other. So you got to wash it as quickly as you can. Simple as that. It was just atrocious, though. Absolutely atrocious. Let's talk about how bad the bats were over the last couple of days, where some of their key players are as of late, and we'll do that when we continue right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Right now, I want to tell you about PrizePicks. It, of course, is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. They've got great things all the time over there at PrizePicks, including in the month of September, where one Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on PrizePicks every week in September. That's right, only 1 yard gets you an automatic win every football weekend in September. 4 weeks for free W's. Don't miss this deal on PrizePicks because it's gone when September ends. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. Locked On Astros Postcast on a Wednesday afternoon. Thank you guys for coming by and saying hello on the channel and watching this afternoon. I know that it's a little bit less than we typically have because it's 2:48 at the time of this recording on a Wednesday or Thursday afternoon. Most of you have jobs that require you to be at them right now. I am grateful enough that I have the flexibility to come and do this show with you today. Appreciate you guys again stopping by. Don't forget, I'm going to keep teasing it. We have a big weekend on this channel. This channel is not just Astros. It is Rockets, Texans, and Cougs as well. This weekend, Saturday, 3:10 Astros game. So we will have Astros Postcast in that 6 o'clock range for Astros and Diamondbacks. And then later on that night, the Cougs play at 6. So we will have a Locked On Cougs Postcast somewhere probably in that 9 o'clock range when they play Oklahoma. We'll see how that goes. Sunday, by the way, we have our first show of the season, first regular season show of the season with the Texans postcast, and that will happen first. The game is at noon. As soon as that game ends, we will go live with that. And then after that gets done, we will do an Astros postcast because the Astros play at 1 o'clock. Yes, I will be again screening it with the Astros on this screen, Texans on this one. My eyeballs bouncing back and forth, but probably, the main part of it's on Texans because you can not pay attention to every single pitch at times in baseball and you could be okay. But we're going to do both shows on Sunday. One more quick nugget here for you guys. For those of you that are watching live or watching later on, you're getting the sneak. You're getting the news first. Texans coverage this season. Very happy to announce. It won't just be my voice that you will hear on the Texans postcast shows this year. Former Houston Texan Wade Smith will be joining me every single week on this channel to break down every single Texans game. If you've watched the Texans for a long time, you know who Wade Smith is, of course, lineman with the Texans during their first heyday of getting to the playoffs finally. So excited to get going with him. We had a call this afternoon. And really excited to get to hang out with him every week on these shows and you guys, and hopefully talk about a lot of Texans wins because it's going to be a big season. So again, Wade Smith will be joining us on this channel every week for Texans breakdowns on the Texans postcast shows. All right, let's get back to our Astros discussion. Actually, you know what? Real quick, by the way, if you're looking for this show and podcast, Locked On Astros podcast is what you go and search for, and you'll get that free anywhere that you get your podcast. You'll also get the Locked On Astros show with Brett and Eric. So go ahead and check them out as well. Appreciate you guys always watching the shows as you do. So to the Astros, where'd the bats go? Where'd the bats go? Huh? Why can't you hit a baseball all of a sudden? Did plenty of that over the weekend against Kansas City. Today they pounded out a whopping 4 hits. Now look, the starting pitcher today, I told you guys yesterday, I didn't know anything about him. He's a rookie. He's making his second big league start, Louder. He was exceptional overall. I mean, he did walk 4, but he did a really good job of limiting damage. Reds bullpen didn't give up a hit. Only one Astro reached base after they went to the bullpen. So, sometimes as I always like to remind you guys, sometimes you tip your cap to what went on out there on the field to the other side. Their player went out there and executed his job better than the Astros players executed their job. But overall in this series, what happened to the bats? They did score 5 yesterday, but Jordan has gone ice cold. Altuve's had a really bad second half of the season. Yiner has gone ice cold all of a sudden. So is Alex Bregman. His batting average has dipped back down below 260. Pena had a decent day today. It was good to see out of him. He had a couple of the Astros hits. Singleton gave one a ride there in that 9th inning that looked like, okay, maybe, it just did not happen. As I mentioned, Jordan over the last week of games, only hitting 269. It's not horrific. Like, it could be worse. But in this series against the Cincinnati Reds, he only went – why is this going all the way to the bottom, of course? He had 1 hit in 11 at-bats, a double in the first game that was down the line. He also reached base once with a walk. That's not very good. You're not going to win when he's not doing anything at all. Same can be said for Altuve. I mentioned he did reach base today. Not much of an issue there for him to at least get on base. You just want guys on base, right? Like, you have to have that. Altuve in this series went 2 for 10 with 2 walks. So he did reach base 4 times, but 2 for 10, guess what that is? Not good. Yainer Diaz, he's slowed down a little bit in the last week. In this series against the Cincinnati Reds, he went 2 for 9 again, and those 2 hits were in game 1 where he drove in 3. Those two hits, though, that's not enough. Bregman finally returned in this series. We're going to give him a little bit of time, of course, to see if he gets back into the groove of it after kind of being out. 1 for 6 in the series in the 2 games that he played. Not good. On the flip side of things, when the Mariners got rid of Ty France, you're like, okay, good. Ty France will never really be a big problem for the Astros again because he just has always crushed Astros pitching. Always crushed them. Well, guess what? He got picked up by the Reds of all teams. And, of course, you do now play everybody. But Ty France said, watch this. I'm going to continue to be the biggest problem in the Astros side. He's literally the new Albert Pujols against the Astros. Listen to this. I saw this on I move into the office here to watch for like the last inning and a half. And I just pull up a stream of the game, and it was on the Reds broadcast. Ty France went 9 for 11 in the series against the Astros. That's an .818 batting average. That tied for the highest single average in a series by a Reds player since 1901. It was Cy Seymour in April of 1905 in a series against the Cardinals who had the same batting average of 8. What was it I say it was? 818. That's when you know. That's when you know, 1, the guy has your number. But 2, that something stupid is going on. That's exactly what that was. It's incredible that this guy, he does have a lot of experience against them. He's seen all these arms multiple times throughout the year. So you expect some level of success, but it's just 9 for 11. And then, of course, the one big swing of the bat today was against Brian Abreu, who just – and again, I'm not blaming the loss on Brian Abreu. You can't win if you don't score. The loss is on the bats more than anything else. The Astros staff overall held the Reds to 1 run today. That's great. You should win a baseball game when you keep the opposing team to 1 run, period. But Brian Abreu, of course, comes in, and it's been a lot of the story for him recently. The contact is loud against Brian Abreu right now, and the results are not fantastic. He has been giving up runs. And then, again, you can be critical of the player. Again, the Astros had the Reds at 1 run today. They should have won that baseball game. But Brian Abreu's job is also to come in and preserve that tie baseball game. He failed to do that today. He failed his job. He gave up the home run to Ty France, who just hit a cookie out there. And then they gave him a double. The first out he gets was an absolute laser. I know that there's it jumps to this conclusion so quickly on social media. Yeah, he's been used, I think, more than anybody else in baseball. That's fine. There's always going to, unfortunately, have to be a guy that gets that, designation of most used guy in baseball out of a bullpen. But you and I don't know and can't say that it's for sure because he's tired. You don't know that. I don't know that. We don't. Is it a logical conclusion to maybe come to? Sure. But it's also a logical conclusion to look at it and evaluate the situation and say, okay, this player is going out here at this time and not executing what he is supposed to in his job as a high leverage reliever to go out there and help this baseball team win games. He's just not. And I've said it all season long. I am not. He gives me, and this is a guy that before I was so comfortable with, even if he walked too many guys at times. This season, I have no level of comfort when I see Brian Abreu come into the game. I'm pleasantly surprised and wowed when he comes in and there's not traffic and it's quick. And he's had some of those games recently. But it's just he can't have a long extended period of it. And for the Astros to be their best version of themselves, they've pitched their butts off, and he's been part of it. He has pitched better even when he's, he still comes in and finds ways to put guys on base, which is a problem. You guys know how playing with that fire in the postseason is what really matters. You got to have guys that come in, and more often than not, they don't put anybody on the base pass. And that's, I think, where my biggest frustration is that I'm thinking, I'm in the mindset of thinking so far ahead that knowing that putting base runners on constantly is going to bite you in the butt in the postseason. It will. It always does. It always does. So the Astros lose another baseball game today. Let's take a look at the series ahead against the Diamondbacks, and also I want to take a brief moment to talk about the extension last night for a third baseman and Matt Chapman of the San Francisco Giants and what it means for Alex Bregman. That's next here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Right now, though, I want to tell you about Ibotta. Sandals, sunscreen, snacks. What do these have in common? You're probably buying them a ton again this time of the year. Even though summer's winding down, I don't want you to stress about the cost. Use Ibotta and get cash back on all your purchases when you stock up on all of your summer essentials. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time that you shop. Earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Other apps give you points that don't amount to much. With Ibotta, you earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Simply add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. You can save on over 2,400 brands and shop at over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and more. It's time that you join the over 50 million users who use Ibotta to earn cash back every time they shop. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for just trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Locked On Astros Postcast for a few more minutes here on a Thursday afternoon. These are usually Wednesday games. It's so weird to have coming off of a series that you played and they, had a day off on a Tuesday. Scheduling quirks. They'll have another day off on Monday, but before they get to that, they will have a 3-game series this weekend at home against the Arizona Diamondbacks, a Diamondbacks team that has had a just stellar second half of the season. They're going to enter this one. I don't know if they are playing today. The Diamondbacks are currently playing. They're up 1-0 over the Giants. So if the Diamondbacks win today, they will pick up their 80th win of the season. They'll be 80-61 if they pick up that win. They are, by record, a better team than the Astros this season. They were in the World Series last year. Some of their main characters from last year maybe aren't performing the way that they were, and I haven't looked at what he's done lately, but really Corbin Carroll had a just horrific start to his season. They pitch, and we all know why they pitch. They've got Brent Strom out there. They're a lot like the Astros. They pitch their backsides off, and that's why they have the record that they do, and they were able to rebound because they had a really tough start to the season that did not go very well. And they found their way back to where they expected to be. They made a few additions at the trade deadline. They made some additions to the lineup coming into this season as well, even keeping some of their own guys. They're a difficult team to hit the ball out of the yard a little bit. Corbin Carroll's not having a great season, but he's hot right now, by the way, coming in. He's hitting over 300 with 11 home runs in the last calendar month. And over the last week coming into play today, he's hitting over 400. So he'll be a problem this weekend at Minute Maid Park. They got a lot of guys. Eugenio Suarez, who played for the Mariners there for a couple of seasons. We all know about him. He's been crushing the baseball of late. He's red hot. He's driving in runs left and right. He's in the top 5 or top 10 at least in the National League in runs driven in this season. It's going to be a dogfight. Astros have not announced their starting rotation for this series. I have not seen. I need to pull up the tweets real quick, see if there's any tweets from the Astros beat writers about it. I do not see any at this moment about what the rotation will look like this weekend. For the Diamondbacks, they're going to go with Friday night, 7:10 first pitch, Brandon Pfaadt. I don't know why I call him Jeremy Pfaadt. He'll go Friday night. Saturday night is Eduardo Rodriguez. That's the game that the Astros should be licking their chops. And then on Sunday, 6:10 first pitch. Oh, did I have that wrong? They play Sunday Night Baseball. I do. My bad. They got picked up for Sunday Night Baseball. So we won't have a conflict on Sunday. We'll have Texans in the morning or in the afternoon, and then Astros in the evening. That's on me. I completely just whiffed on that one. But Ryan Nelson on Sunday for the Diamondbacks in that one. The Astros, again, nothing there in terms of what the rotation is going to look like. They said that they were going to stay in rotation. So, actually, here it is. It came out a few minutes ago. Fromber will go Friday. Yusei Kikuchi on Saturday. Justin Verlander will go on Sunday. The Astros are skipping Ronel Blanco's turn in the rotation to give him extra rest, and they are going to return to a six-man rotation when they begin that 16-day straight stretch of playing after that day off on Monday. So Ronel Blanco is going to get a little bit of a blow here before he goes back into the rotation, which I don't think is a terrible thing. Wanted to bring up one more thing before we called it a day here on the Locked On Astros Postcast. Yesterday evening, or maybe late last night, Matt Chapman of the San Francisco Giants signed a 6-year, $151 million contract with the San Francisco Giants. And I've brought his name up quite a bit because he and Bregman are very similar overall, especially this season based on production. Very, very similar numbers. Chapman's hit with a little bit more power. Batting average has been slightly lower, and his batting average typically is lower than Bregman's. On base is about the same, honestly, though, but he's walking at a far better clip than Bregman has this year, and the OPS numbers are similar. I think he's about 20 points better than Bregman this year. He's a year older than Bregman. He did not fare all that well in the market last year. He was one of the Boris 4 that sat and did not get a deal until well into the season, signed a 3-year deal, not into the season, but late in spring training. Signed a 3-year deal with a bunch of opt-outs. He was going to opt out and hit the market because he's had a pretty solid year after a terrible start to the year for them. But gets that extension in a place like in the Bay Area. I think he's from that area. Yeah, he's from Victorville, California, and he went to Fullerton out there in California. But he played in Oakland forever. He played for Bob Melvin forever. There's a comfort level, so he didn't want to hit the market. I would have been interested to see what he would have done on the market. I don't think that the market is necessarily going to rebound like everybody expects it to. And Boris has a ton of clients this year, but Alex Bregman is now the clear-cut best third baseman that is going to be out there. I tweeted it this morning. I think that this kind of sets up for Bregman as a getting $175 million. As long as the health checks out, the elbow is not something that's just like horrendous that's going to keep him down or something forever. But I think that Bregman finds his sweet spot of 5-6 year deal, $175 million-ish, and in all likelihood won't get that from the Astros. I will say if the Astros offered him 6 for $175, I wouldn't be insanely mad about it. Why? Okay, so you take him into his later 30s. You're taking Altuve to 40. Why not keep a cornerstone piece who's still productive? I know that he's shown some slippage, some signs of slippage this year, and some things that I don't necessarily like, but he's turned it around and played like Alex Bregman in the last few months. If you could get it done for that kind of number, 6 at 175, it averages like 29 a year or whatever, I wouldn't be mad at it. But I also, again, like I always tell you, I love to live in reality. I know that they're not going to do this. They are going to move on from Alex Bregman, and they're going to have to spend somewhere to upgrade this lineup. There is no doubt about that. So I just wanted to give that, again, a brief mention, just some quick thoughts on the Chapman extension and the effect it has on Alex Bregman. I don't think he's cracking the 200 number. I'd be surprised if he cracks the 200 number. He's not worth it. Anybody pays him $200 million, not worth it. Not worth it at all. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Thursday afternoon. I'm off to do some housework now. Be sure to be back with us tomorrow evening. Astros taking on the Diamondbacks a little bit later than we have been this week, of course, because they're back at home. Should be about a 10 o'clock start or so for the postcast. So hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Spread the word, spread the love. Appreciate you guys as always. Talk to you tomorrow right here on the Locked On Astros Postcast.